Raucous. Subscribe to Vincent Valentine EX Turk channel.
Guys, your king and I, Vincent Valentine EX Turk, and I'm doing video back to back. I just finished my vlog video, which you go down and watch that, but now we're gonna get back into some Final Fantasy content like regular. While still keeping my regular content, I'll be doing vlogs on the side too. But anyways, let's talk about a new discovery. A discovery. Well, it's not really that new for anyone who's finished Final Fantasy VIII, but the time compression and the other sorceresses. Now, after you defeat Sorceress Adele, out of her it's or Z. I'm trying to respect everyone's pronouns. I'm gonna just call her Z. You know, just to be safe, so I don't get dislikes. But out of Z's last effort, Z has opened a portal up to the time compression, meaning that after you defeat Sorceress Adele, the time compression has been opened by Z to send Squall and his friends to the time compression. Now, this realm is pretty much time does not flow. If you remember in Final Fantasy 13-2, where in Valhalla time doesn't flow like it normally should, this is exactly where they kind of got the idea from. Because Final Fantasy games, let's be honest, they do take from the older Final Fantasy games, such as how Final Fantasy 15's draw system looks like Final Fantasy 8's, draw system, and then the villain kills the main, and then villain kills main girlfriend type of love interest character, just like in 7. Final Fantasy's known to repeat its own cliches, which I still like. I love Final Fantasy. I mean, that's what my channel's based off of. But it does have cliches. I think 13.2's cliche comes from this. The time compression is a world where time does not flow. And at this point, Sorceress Ultimecia is able to control not just one, but all 3 sorceresses through different time periods. Now, the sorceresses through different time periods are different than the traditional Edea, Adele, and Ultimecia, as those 3 are the most powerful sorceresses in Final Fantasy VIII lore. So, where these sorceresses come from? They're from all different times. All different times. They've been also defeated because sorceresses always had war with the human beings. And they've always had. Now, this is closer to the end of the game because so many things take place. Such as also the Doom Train event where you have to fight Doom Train. Now, I've not gotten this far. I'm not gonna lie. I pretty much, YouTube this. But Sorceress Majo. I think it's Sorceress Majo. But the story behind these particular sorceresses, these ones come from the time compression, meaning these are already the sorceresses who've been defeated in their time. There are a series of mini bosses in Final Fantasy VIII. At the start of the time compression, Squall and the party fight 11 incarnations of the sorceresses from different time periods. So these are sorceresses that have been defeated before in their own time period. And they have different appearances, as you see. And their aspects of fire, arrow, and stuff. And there's a lot of things that happens during the time compression. A lot of events besides the sorceress, but these sorceresses have been defeated through time, through different eras of the timeline. So what could this mean? Mean that the times are mixed, because these are all different sorceresses. These are all different sorceresses from different time periods, all in one time period. So if it's possible that time doesn't flow, that means they would all have to travel there, meaning that Sorceress Ultimecia probably had to take control one by one and just go back and forth in the time using their time magic. Because sorceresses, they're so powerful in Final Fantasy VIII. You know, they can use the time powers. And this is the time, you know, they can use their time powers besides, you know, other time traveling villains like Caius and such. You know, the time compression is also a major plot. The plan is to change the course of time, space, and destiny. And this will also prove that Squall, this will also debunk the theory that Squall is dead, because even if you do have visions about what happens in the future, the timelines would stay as they are, even if it's just a vision, because that's a vision. That doesn't affect everybody else. And the timeline is all messed up because time stands still. It does not move. It's a concept of considering time and space with a monument and singularity. It can't be initiated by casting a spell, which requires power on behalf of the casters in place of the sensor of said singularity. By compression, the entire universe, again, the entire universe. This will prove that Squall is not dead, because the entire universe is put into this. The entire Final Fantasy VIII universe is put into the time compression and placed in the center of it. Ultimecia will assimilate all creations into herself. And that's where Ultimecia will probably get her forms from, because now she has the power of all creation inside of her, thanks to the time compression. The English version explained that the party's very existence will be absorbed in the time compression by causing an agony thoughts that rip apart their memories and fade away, leaving them unable to do or think anything. And that's what it would explain the ending of Final Fantasy VIII. You know, because so many different, pretty much what Ultimecia has done is combine the different universes of Final Fantasy VIII. It's still Final Fantasy VIII's world, but all different versions of it. So and this is only a fan theory, so is it possible that we could also see this is where Leon comes from? Another thing, is it possible this is where Leon comes from as well? Because he's one of the Squalls. And maybe in how it is in Kingdom Hearts lore, where all the Final Fantasy worlds are destroyed, maybe Leon's world was destroyed, and that's why he has the long hair, because Squall goes into a depression after losing everything to Ultimecia. In that universe, Ultimecia is defeated Seed, except for Squall. So maybe it could be possible that Squall could meet his future self, Leon, through this. And again, this is only a fan theory and speculation. You're welcome to correct me if I'm wrong. This is just only speculations I'm making about the time compression. You know? But is it possible, if Ultimecia is combining the universes, that's just like taking the DC universe and combine it with all the Earths, like Earths 1 to 10 together. You know, it's like doing that. You know, that's what Ultimecia has done. So I think it's possible that Squall could end up meeting his future self, Leon. Now let's continue with the wiki. Laguna Lord, President of E-Star, and Dr. Ordain came up with a plan for Seeds to venture into the future to stop Ultimecia. When Ultimecia has compressed time in the body of Sorceress Adele of the distant past, the spell has halted halfway when alone sends Ultimecia's consciousness back to the future from where it once it came. Ultimecia's spell has affected the time and space, which Squall and the Seed Party relying to reach Ultimecia's future and to stop her. And that's why they had to go stop her, because what Ultimecia has done is bring causality to the world. If someone like Caius exists, or the Shadow Hunter like Noel, they would find Ultimecia and stop her, because what she's doing is combining the whole universes, and universes aren't supposed to combine because they're different. There are different timelines for existence. If anyone watches the TV show Flash, It's a very good TV show. It's kind of like when Flash created Flashpoint. What Sorceress Ultimecia has been doing was pretty much creating the Final Fantasy VIII equivalent to Flashpoint, pretty much. So this could cause events of Doom Train and all the sorceresses from different times, because there's 11 of these sorceresses. 11. Now they're much weaker than Sorceress Edea, Adele, and Ultimecia. And I'd say weaker than Renoa, because Renoa is now a sorceress thanks to, you know, Ultimecia possessing her body, so she has the gift of sorceress stuff in her. You know, which I gotta say Renoa is the only good sorceress, is why all the other sorceresses a good one besides Edea, because Edea chose a better path. But anyways, let's keep, you know, pretty much this affected when space begins to compress. Squall and his allies will turn the world upside down with thousands of different kinds of space, thousands of different points fusing them together. Because this will fuse everything together. That's why I think it's possible that Squall has met Leon. And Leon has given him the knowledge of how to defeat Ultimecia and stop her plan once and for all. So, tell me what you think about this theory. May the crystal be with you. And I hope this answers some of your questions about time compression, Ultimecia's transformations, Doom Train, all the other different sorceresses, and one timeline, and possibly Leon and Squall. So may the crystal be with you.
Yo, Percocet, yeah. Miley Percocet, Percocet, yeah. Miley Percocet, rep the set, yeah. Gotta rep the set, yeah. Chase a chick, never chase a bitch, chase no bitch.